Yo, what is good, YouTube family? It is your boy Joe Fit Johnson back at it again and bring y'all some fire content.
We left for the baby, we left for the baby,
So we're gonna get straight into it. Y'all know the deal. So I've been getting asked a lot, what is my training split? As I've been posting more content on Instagram, showing the different styles that I train between weight training, calisthenics, combat, running, overall just functional movement, functional training. And a lot of people are wondering how I split this up between a week. So in this video, I'm gonna be going over what my training style is, how I split it up in a week, and 3 mistakes that a lot of people make when beginning their hybrid training journey or when they're starting their fitness journey in general. I'm gonna save the best for last and give you guys the sauce on what it's going to really take and what really helps me and hundreds of other people stay consistent on their fitness. No matter if you're training as a hybrid athlete, a bodybuilder, etc., there's one vital thing that must change and you must focus on in order to make this a reality consistently. So let's get into it. So the first thing I want to talk about is my split and my training style. So if you're new here, I come from being an athlete. I was a basketball player, I used to skateboard, I've always been active, right? Growing up, I was very skinny. It was very hard for me to gain muscle mass, very hard for me to gain weight. I've always been into weight training. I've always been into training because I knew that I needed to be strong to be a point guard, to play at high levels, to be able to compete. Now, I struggled to absolutely build muscle. I couldn't build muscle. I had a lot of coaches tell me like, oh, you don't have the frame to gain size, to gain muscle mass. And it wasn't until college when I started to work under direct bodybuilders and really study and really get addicted and obsessed with bodybuilding that I was able to build 20 pounds of muscle mass in just 6 months. This changed my life forever. And it was all because I had the structure and I had the foundation and I had the mentorship and I had the guidance on, okay, what do I actually need to do? How do I actually need to eat? And how do I actually need to train, think, and who do I need to be in order to gain this muscle mass? And from this, I got into bodybuilding, all right? And this is where the fun really started because I was able to really see the fruits of my labor pay off. I was able to see my body change in ways that have never changed before. And this actually inspired the move from Minneapolis, Minnesota, where I'm from, to Los Angeles, California. Now, as I got through my bodybuilder journey, there were things that were exposed, right? One being hip mobility, right? I was able to deadlift 400 pounds, squat 300 pounds, but I couldn't lift my leg up and hold the kick. I couldn't lift my knee up to the side like a fire hydrant and hold that position. I had knee pains, I had back pains, and I wasn't able to, even when I hooped, I was big, I was strong, but I was slower. I wasn't as light, I wasn't athletic. And this isn't something that I honestly deem to like because as a hooper, as an athlete, I like to be, agile. I like to be quick. During this time, I've always been into combat training. I've always been interested in martial arts. I've always been interested in being a walking weapon. And so I always shadow boxed, right? But again, my lats were so tight from, pull-ups and bodybuilding that my punches were very stiff, right? I was slower on my feet, etc. During this time as well, I was embarking on my modeling journey. So as I was moving from Los Angeles to New York, I couldn't be in this big frame anymore, right? I was bigger, I was carrying weight on my face, I was carrying weight on my size, and going into New York and being a fashion model, I couldn't be big, right? My agent's like, yo, bro, like if you wanna be serious about being a model, you have to cut that down. So I cut down a lot, and this is where I leaned heavier into calisthenics, skill-based training, functional movement, etc., right? Not only through the lifestyle of New York being so, so on the go, lots of steps, a lot of meals skipped, just modeling, shoot. I was able to cut down a lot of the muscle mass / weight that I was carrying, and I really just focused on my environment. So this is another big thing of being able to train in your environment, right? No matter if you have access to a gym, no matter if you're training outside, no matter if you're training at home, it has to become a part of your identity and who you are, that no matter what, you're gonna train. And this is where the hybrid training is so beautiful because you're able to train, no matter if I'm in Cancun, no matter if I'm in Bali, no matter if I'm in Tokyo, I'm not depending on a gym. I'm not like, oh, I can't get into a gym, I'm not gonna train. I was just in Tokyo, and when I was in Tokyo, what did I do? I went on Google, I found me a track, and I went and ran that track. I found me a pull-up bar, and I went and did pull-ups and dips and push-ups. I was able to keep that fire lit. I was able to keep the momentum going. So when it comes down to my journey, it's evolved from bodybuilding, calisthenics, combat training, and running, right? Now, when it comes to splitting this up, I'm not someone who is type A and over I wouldn't say detailed because I am detailed, but I wouldn't say that I have like this day for this day for this day for this day for this, right? For me, I'm very big on intuitive training, listening to my body, and also blending in the way that I train. So most of the times that I train, it's a full body, right? It's a full body, but focused on specific body parts. So I may have a chest focused full body where in between my push-ups, my dips, I'm still doing pull-ups, I'm still doing lunges, etc., right? And then in between that, all of my warm-ups, all of my exercises are going to have warm-ups, are going to have dynamic movements, and are going to have some mobility included to help me with injury prevention and being able to get into the deep ranges of motion that you guys see me training in, right? So a lot of time I'm implementing mobility, stretching, and even explosivity into my workouts. Now, I do have specific days. So for example, a lot of people just have rest days. And this is a big mistake that a lot of people make is you just have rest days, maybe 1 day, maybe 2 days, maybe even 3 days, where you're just purely just sitting around. And I believe in active rest days. So I'm moving my body 6 to 7 days a week. Even if I'm resting, I will go and I will even go for a jog. I will get a massage, or I will have a mobility day where I'm focused on not just stretching, but also actively stretching with resistance bands, with weights, etc., and allowing my body to still move and open up. This is a big mistake that honestly most people make. A lot of the people that I've worked with and I've helped heal from their knee pains, their elbow pains, their shoulder pains, it's because they didn't have a proper foundation in terms of properly warming up, priming their bodies, and preparing for the lifts and the loads that they're getting into. So they find themselves having shoulder pain, wrist pain, elbow pain, etc., because they don't have a proper foundation built. And again, I will pop up testimonials and etc., but I've helped heal a lot of people by rebuilding their foundation. And again, this is a big mistake that a lot of beginners miss. They think that you can just go into the gym and while you're young and while you're just getting into it, you can go in there, just hit some warm-up sets and just lift. But as we're getting more into deeper ranges of motion, more explosivity, combat training, being able to really be able to move and use strength, you have to be able to prime your body and have a proper foundation where you have a lower risk for injury. Now, I know that I haven't broken this up like the typical YouTubers in terms of, okay, part 1, part 2, part 3, but I'm just giving you all the sauce here at once. I hope you got your notepad out because this is valuable information that I do wish that I knew when I was first starting into bodybuilding. Now, again, when we're talking about my split, again, I'm mostly training full bodies, and so I will have a strength day where I'm focused on weights. I will have a day where I'm focused on calisthenic skills, and I will have a day where I'm focused on more of the training that you guys may see in terms of the explosiveness with the resistance bands, with dumbbells, etc. Right? And again, this is mostly intuitive. Now, if you are a beginner, it's going to be harder for you to have that intuitive clock and know, okay, this is what I'm training on this day, this is what I'm training on this day, etc. If you're somebody who would like a structured program, that is something that I'm willing to put together. A lot of people have been asking, so I've been thinking about just putting together a foundational hybrid training based on how I train. If that is something that you're interested in, comment down below hybrid. And if I get 50 comments of hybrid, I will make that program and I will give that out to you guys for free. Basically, you can take the exercises, the workouts, and the things that I'm putting on this channel and being able to construct and implement that into your own program. Now, the third thing, a mistake that a lot of beginners make, as I talked about before, is not having a proper foundation, right? Not having a proper foundation in terms of how they're warming up, not having a proper foundation in terms of how they're stretching, how they're priming their muscles, but also not having a proper foundation in terms of how they're going about building up their sets, how they're going towards failure, and also how they're eating. So many people struggle with results because they don't even know how to eat. They think that they can continue to just eat whatever, or I have a lot of clients that eat clean, but yeah, you may, have a bit of results, but when it comes to really getting shredded, when it really comes to really seeing your body change, really getting rid of that body fat, really being able to get your chest lifted, really be able to seeing the definition in your triceps and your chest, it's gonna take from eating clean to eating intentional. These are two different things. Eating intentional, it means you understand your macros, you understand how much protein you're getting, you're meal prepping, you're optimized. Eating clean just means you're not eating processed foods and processed sugars. This is different, and this is what a lot of people miss between getting okay results and getting results that's like, damn, hold on, I really see my body toning, I really see my body shredding, I really see myself building muscle, I really am recovering more and not having as much soreness. And again, if this is something that you're struggling with, if you're showing up consistently but you feel like you're not getting the results that you want and deserve, you're like a lot of the clients that we've worked with, and trust me, you don't know what you don't know. So drop down below in the comments what questions you may have, and if you're someone who's serious, you can apply to work with me down below. All right, now let's keep it pushing. Another mistake that a lot of beginners make is taking on too much at once. You wanna learn calisthenic skills, you wanna learn combat, you wanna be a power lifter, you wanna be a runner, you wanna do all these things, and you've only been training for a year or 2 years. You have to remember, I've been training for almost a decade, you guys. No, over a decade, right? So I've been able to work on all of these skills, all of these strengths, piece by piece, brick by brick, through what? Consistency, right? So before all of my bodybuilding sessions, all my weight training sessions, I was shadowboxing for my warm-up, right? I was getting loose, right? If you remember seeing me at John Reed, if you remember seeing me at LA, if there's a bag, I'm working on it. Even without a bag, for my shadowboxing, I'm just in there working on my shadowboxing, right? And then I got into running years ago as well, not because I liked running. I don't like running, but I knew that I wanted to be able to be in fight shape, stay ready, so I don't have to get ready. It's very, very therapeutic, and I knew that I wanted to build a habit that's gonna allow me to stay lean for the rest of my life, right? No matter if I'm 50, no matter if I'm 60, if I build a habit of running while I'm young, then I'm never gonna have to worry about, per se, getting fat. You get what I'm saying? Because we're building the identity and we're building the habits, and the habits shape the identity. And this is the last thing that I wanted to talk about. The number one thing that you can do when it comes to getting fit, staying fit, and truly making this a lifestyle, where you're a hybrid athlete, you're somebody who's respected, you take your shirt off, and motherfuckers like, damn, right? Respect is earned, not given. We all know when we look at somebody, if somebody's in shape and they're peeled up and they're like, damn, that motherfucker takes care of himself. Like, respect, you know what I'm saying? So if you deem for that and you wanna be that inspiration of your family, you wanna be that inspiration of your wife, your fiance, the people around you, that leader in your business and your company, it comes down to your self-identity. We will never outlive or be in misalignment with our self-identity, right? A runner's gonna run, a painter's gonna paint, a fit person is gonna eat clean and eat healthy. They're gonna make time to work out, no matter if they're traveling, no matter if it's an apartment gym, no matter if it's outside. You have to have the identity needed, okay? Now, how do we build that identity? Through habits, right? Habits are what's gonna shape our identity. So it doesn't matter about having an hour-long workout, 2-hour-long workout. What I always recommend to people is showing up and keeping that momentum going. Another thing that I recommend is not having too many rest days, because the more days that you take off, the easier, even for myself, like I've been at this over a decade, and the more days that I take off, the harder and the easier it is for me to fall off. So I say all that to say, build the habit. It doesn't matter about having the perfect workout. It's about showing up consistently, all right? Now, if you wanna be around like-minded people, hold on, let me say this real quick. Environment is key. I moved from Minneapolis, Minnesota to LA because I wanted to be around more fit people that are about entrepreneurship, get into modeling, rub shoulders with the right people, etc. Then I went from Los Angeles to New York because I wanted to be around more fashion. I was building a modeling career. I moved from Los Angeles to Bali. I didn't know it was this fit out here, like the fitness and wellness was out here, but being in an environment and being around people that are like-minded, so important, right? I went on the journey by myself in Minnesota, right? I did start to, friends and people like that started to ask me like, hey, can you help me, yada, yada, and then they started to join, but I did it by myself. I was in there by myself. But then I went to LA because I'm like, man, the fitness culture in Minnesota is weak as hell. Let me go somewhere where I feel I belong, where I can have that community. Always invest into yourself, you guys. The number one investment will always be in yourself. Know that. You can spend money on cars, clothes, shoes, bills, all this bullshit. But when it comes down to investing into yourself, this is something that's gonna pay off for years to come. The knowledge, the foundation, the environment, the network, the people you know, the people you meet, the habits you build. You feel me? So yeah, I hope that this was helpful. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. We're out here. Peace.